I know sometimes I start these videos with funny edits and music that I've added. Didn't need to do a fucking thing there.
Everybody's thinking about me, but I feel alright. Everybody's out again, but I feel alright.
Dreams is an impressive technical showcase. It's the successful culmination of everything that Media Molecule has been working on for many, many years in the field of user-generated gameplay. It's also full of games that I don't want to play. Now, Media Molecule have been working on Dreams for a long, long time. They, of course, were responsible for Little Big Planet, which is sort of, now when you look at it retrospectively, something of a prototype to this, except instead of making these cute little side-scrolling games, you can make pretty much any game in any genre using the toolset Media Molecule provided. Now, before we go any further, I didn't try and make nothing. This is a collection of the games that people have made. I played them. I got Dreams specifically just to see what people had made, because I've got no imagination and no talent, which is why I'm doing videos on YouTube and not being a game designer. Now, Dreams is pretty much how a more cynical person might expect Dreams to be. As I said at the very beginning, it's very impressive. The variety, the diversity of games that people are able to make using Dreams is pretty staggering, really. But as of right now, where we're still pretty early days, we're still not that far out from Dreams' launch, almost everything on there, almost every game that someone's made is a tech demo. Anything more ambitious than a very simple side-scroller in most cases is some sort of very short demo, very low on gameplay. Some games that have been made are actually quite good, although so far the only game I've played that I would happily go back to, and have gone back to, is the one you're seeing right now. This is Blade Gunner. This one, as you can see, very similar to Resogun, stuff like that. I was very taken with this. This is an impressive game. It's got everything you really would want from a shooter of this type. Waves of enemies and pickups and whatnot. And this is Crash Bandicoot. Just to give you a taste of something different. This game, or rather, you can't really call Dreams a game. This games, plural. This games is full of copyright infringement. That's the other really notable thing to talk about with Dreams, is because it's user-generated content, people will obviously make Mario levels and Sonic levels. There will probably be a Dark Souls coming up at some point. I did have a look, but there's nothing worth looking at the moment. But, you know, the usual suspects. Zelda's all over the place here. It's not really any content that Media Molecule owns. And you sort of could get away with it more in Little Big Planet, because everything still has a very distinctive look. At the end of the day, Little Big Planet is still Little Big Planet, even if you remake Ico in it, which some people have done. In this one, as you can maybe hear, it's very quiet, I keep the footage low, but I don't know if you can hear it, but you can recreate pretty much any song, any tune you want. So you can make a Sonic, because you can make any character you want. So you can make Sonic the Hedgehog, you can make a Sonic the Hedgehog level, and you can fill it with Sonic the Hedgehog music. Also, you can be a dog that does a piss and a shit. That's what this one is. This is a game that caught my attention, not so much because you're a dog running around doing pisses and shits, but because the dog is so horrifying. They have made this dog with long, skinny legs and a horrible, segmented body, which is something you see in a lot of these Dreams creations, is a lot of character models where everything looks like moulded together plasticine, like claymation, but like done by a kid. And that's no knock on the people making the games. That's a lot better than I could fucking do. But it does make a lot of the games a bit creepy. Especially if they make a copyrighted character in this style, where everything just looks gangly and twisted and basically like a version of Sonic or Mario that should be on those experimental clone tables and jars in Alien Resurrection. I could easily expect this dog on a table asking a normal dog to kill it, and then that normal dog blasts it apart with a flamethrower, which is what happened in Alien Resurrection. Little known fact. There were scenes in that film that happened, so... Here's Spider-Man with the Spider-Man theme tune. Spider-Man does it all the time. If my YouTube video here gets dinged for a copyright claim, if I get copyright claimed because of what Dreams did, then I am going to be very cheesed off. But anyway, here's Spider-Man. So this is a good example of what Dreams' state is currently. They've got a web-slinging mechanic, they've made a city, they've made a Spider-Man. So long as you don't look at the Spider-Man too closely, he holds up to some fairly decent scrutiny. But it was just that, it was just web-swinging. But, you know, as I say, it's fairly early days in Dreams. A lot of the developers, because let's call them what they are at this point. In fact, there was some story going around that someone who made a game on Dreams has been recruited already. So yeah, I think we could easily call a lot of the talent on here developers, because they've... I mean, you look at someone who's made a Spider-Man thing, and then you look at someone who's made a Resogun style thing, and that art therapy game we saw at the beginning, and now a turn-based RPG. Visually, of course, this is not great, but they made a little RPG system for themselves, so you can't really fault them there. But, like I say, the real drawback here is, at least so far, I don't really want to spend more than 5 minutes at most playing almost everything I've seen. And for me, someone who is there to browse games, who did this with Little Big Planet and Super Mario Maker as well, I like to see what other people have made because, as noted, I have no talent of my own. This one Media Molecule made, the bouncy box one. That's another thing, even the games Media Molecule have made, the ones where they've had time and intimate knowledge of the tools, even their games are kind of brief and shallow. This one was the most interesting Media Molecule game I found, and it's like, I don't know, like 5 minutes long, if that. There's not a lot to it than this. So even the stuff they're making doesn't grab me. I feel like, as impressive as this is, we're still going to pay professional game developers to make professional games. That said, I don't need Steam anymore, because if I want asset flips, and some of them are asset flips because there are some pre-baked stuff, but if I want asset flips or games that are like the hastily cobbled together shit that you get on Steam, via Steam Direct, the bottom of the barrel stuff, there's loads of this here. There's a lot of fun that I could actually have. I don't think a studio, quote-unquote, like Digital Homicide would be able to do much with this, because even at your most basic, there's still some imagination at play when you publish something in Dreams. I just don't think that people like James and Robert Remain, people who have even less talent than me, could actually do much with this. But I tell you what, if Digital Homicide want to make a game in Dreams, I'll play, I'll give it a fair shake. I'll live stream that shit. I might not, actually. Might not bother. But anyway, this game is called something like Don't Let Naruto Kiss Ya. That's literally all it is. This is a game about Mario dying, I think. It's about an old Mario who goes, presumably, to hell and then dances around to some copyrighted music. But I've played games with Wallace in it. Wallace from Wallace and Gromit, who then meets Homer Simpson, who then meets SpongeBob, of course, who then meets Bob from Bob's Burgers. There's a lot of Shrek. I didn't capture any Shrek footage for this, but there's a lot of Shrek, and there's a lot of memes, and there's a lot of games desperate for PewDiePie's attention, which again makes me wonder why we would ever need Steam Direct anymore. But if you're really into memes, and you're really into Shrek, and you're really into cloying for PewDiePie's attention, if that's important to you, then by all means make and publish something in Dreams. And that's it really, that's your Dreams. An impressive product that I literally won't pick up again, I don't think. I mean, that's the thing, you can give it time, you can understand that at launch there's still a lot of tech demos and a lot of games that people haven't finished, but I'm bored already and have no motivation to pick it up again. However, it is impressive.
It's time to see what I can do. The destiny needs a breakthrough.